Kitson Nevis.
From the VON Newsline, this is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Daniel Moore in with your VON Major News package for today, Friday, March 6, 2020. In our lead stories nationally, Cleone Stapleton Simmons of the NRP wins by-election in Nevis 5, St. Thomas Parish. And the Federal Ministry of Health lists steps to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Regionally, Guyana election, two main parties declare victory as tensions rise. Internationally, coronavirus, Trump signs $8.3 billion aid bill case rise. And in sports, West Indies beat Sri Lanka by 7 wickets and second T20I. We'll add the details to these and other stories after this short break.
Mrs. Cleone Stapleton Simmons received
another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's Powerhouse.
Wow.
Welcome back, and now for the national news.
Mrs. Cleone Stapleton Simmons received 514,514 of the votes validly cast, while Mr. Keith Scarborough received 191,191 of the votes validly cast. Mrs. Cleone Stapleton Simmons, therefore, has been declared the winner of Nevis District 5. We wish her all the best as she accepts this new challenge. May God continue to bless her and indeed all of us.
Supervisor of Elections here in St. Kitts and Nevis, Mr. Elvin Bailey. In an unprecedented manner, Mr. Bailey announced the results en masse at the end of the count, which began at 8 p.m. and ended at 9:20 p.m. Mrs. Stapleton Simmons of the Nevis Reformation Party, a first-time candidate, beat the four-time candidate of the Concerned Citizens Movement, Keith Scarborough, to become the parliamentary representative for Nevis 5, St. Thomas Parish.
In summary, therefore, for Nevis District 5, the parish of St. Thomas's Lowlands, of the 1,533 voters assigned, 713 persons voted for a voter turnout of 46.5%.
Supervisor of Elections here on Nevis, Mr. Elvin Bailey. The Federal Ministry of Health has given steps on how to prevent the coronavirus COVID-19. Chief Medical Officer in the Ministry of Health is Dr. Hazel Laws.
We can wash our hands thoroughly with soap and water for at least 20 seconds after touching contaminated surfaces. You can also use 60% alcohol-based hand sanitizers. The evidence tells us that this is the best weapon against this virus, hand hygiene, even more so than using a face mask. Secondly, we want to recommend that you avoid close contact with anyone with cold or flu symptoms. In other words, you are to maintain a safe distance, 1 meter or 2. Remain 1 meter or 2 from persons who are visibly coughing and sneezing. Persons with respiratory symptoms should cover their nose and mouth when coughing and sneezing.
Dr. Hazel Laws also gave more steps to help prevent the spread of COVID-19.
In terms of the use of surgical masks, it is recommended that persons with respiratory symptoms, they are the ones who should wear these surgical or face masks. In the event that the virus is here or gets here you need to avoid shaking hands. We need to be innovative and use alternative means of greeting our friends and loved ones. Use disposable gloves when handling contaminated surfaces. Avoid touching your face, your eyes, nose, mouth.
Dr. Hazel Laws. As of today, March 6th, 3,462 people have died globally from coronavirus COVID-19 and 101,878 infected, most of the cases from China. Earlier this week, French Guiana confirmed 5 cases of the coronavirus. 2 cases were confirmed in French St. Martin and 1 in St. Barthélemy or St. Bart's. Recently, Dominican Republic recorded its first case of the virus. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Health and Gender Affairs and the Nevis Island Administration has issued a press release with respect to steps in the ministry is taking to prevent coronavirus COVID-19 infection. On Monday, March 2nd, the Federal Ministry of Health held a press conference to sensitize the nation on COVID-19 preparedness. Although at present there are no confirmed cases of the virus in the Federation, the ministry states that the necessary steps are being taken to increase surveillance at ports of entry, train and equip our healthcare workers, both at the district and institutional level, and educate the general public about protecting themselves, their families, and the wider Nevision community by preventing infection. On Wednesday, the ministry convened its second stakeholders meeting, which included representatives from Immigration Department, Custom and Excise Department, Department of Education, Ministry of Tourism, Nevis Tourism Authority, Nevis Disaster Management Department, Nevis Air and Seaports Authority, the police, and the Chamber of Industry and Commerce. Procedures and protocol in place for containment at the border include enhanced surveillance of travelers to the Vance W. Amory International Airport and the Charlestown and Long Point seaports by port health officers and assigned port health nurses. There is also ongoing training of all cadre of staff at our healthcare institutions about COVID-19, infection and prevention control, and case management, according to the statement. Preparedness has also included discussions of case scenarios with appropriate mapping of action plans and identification of isolation areas at Alexandra Hospital. In collaboration with the St. Kitts Nevis government, officials from the High Commission of Canada will be carrying out biometric processes for visa applications, for Canadian visas, for visits, study, work, or temporary residence permit, or for permanent residence. Biometrics refers to the process that are used to recognize, identify, and authenticate people based on their physical or behavioral characteristics. In November of 2014, the Canadian government informed St. Kitts and Nevis that its citizens would no longer be able to cross their border without visas. Since then, the government of St. Kitts and Nevis has made changes that guarantee its passport security and has been working to restore visa-free access to Canada. Canadian officials will be in St. Kitts and Nevis on Thursday 26th and Friday 27th March 2020 to carry out biometric processing for persons wishing to obtain visas. An update on 2 significant ongoing projects in the area, namely the rehabilitation of Old Road Bay Road and the construction of the breakwater at Fisheries Complex, was provided to residents of Old Road in St. Kitts on March 4th. Director of Public Works, Cromwell Williams, said that the projects are necessary to keep pace with developments on a community and national level. He applauded the governments of St. Kitts and Nevis for ensuring that this project came to fruition. Minister of Public Infrastructure, the Honorable Ian Patches Liburd, said that the government of St. Kitts and Nevis will continue to invest heavily in the infrastructure. Local company Rock and Dirt Limited is carrying out the comprehensive project for the Old Road Bay Road that will result in a new 1.2-kilometer stretch of road being built. The design has several safety measures to mitigate against falling rocks from the hillside and damage from the sea, which have been known to occur especially during inclement weather. And finally, in our national news segment, one-on-one consultations hosted by Prime Minister Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris with the people of St. Christopher 6 at the Sadler's Primary School on March 4th were so well attended that he could not see all the people within the allotted time, even after going overtime. He has promised to continue on Sunday, March 7th, between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. Persons from all communities in the constituency number 6, stretching from Newtown Ground to Harris, but more so from Sadler's, and a few from outside the constituency, had assembled at the Sadler's Primary School, where the one-on-one consultations with the Prime Minister were taking place between 4:30 p.m. and 7 p.m. Prime Minister Harris noted that the one-on-one consultations on Saturday will be at the same venue, Sadler's Primary School, and persons were advised to be there on time, as at 12 noon he will have to leave to go for another event. Those who will not be able to make it were asked to advise the Secretariat staff for them to be rescheduled to see him in Bastyr at some other occasion. That is the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
We know you have your personal as well as your business needs, and we're here to help. Our knowledgeable staff will work with you to help you achieve the financial success that you or your company needs in a competitive market. We offer solutions to make your banking experience easier, like our savings and checking accounts. Be sure to ask about our youth savers accounts and our Bank of Nevis Gold Club. We offer a wide range of personal loans, including mortgage, land, student, auto, and consumer loans. Have access to your funds instantly with our BeOnline internet banking and our debit and credit cards. We make international banking and investing easy. How's your business? Give it the leverage it really needs by letting the Bank of Nevis assist you with all the necessary funding for all your business expenses. It's that easy. What are you waiting for? The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life.
Like us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/The Bank of Nevis.
Welcome back, and now for the regional news. Guyana is stuck in political deadlock after both main parties declared victory in the country's election. President David Granger urged his supporters to be patient while waiting for election officials to reveal the results of the March 2nd vote. Mr. Granger was defending a narrow parliamentary majority against Irfane Ali of the opposition PPP party. Former President Bharat Jagdeo, also of the PPP, has accused the election authority of committing fraud. Mr. Granger's party, the Partnership for National Unity and Alliance for Change, ANPU-AFC, is supported by the Afro-Guyanese community. After the vote, it is said it was readying a victory party. However, the People's Progressive Party, or PPP, backed by the Indo-Guyanese population, also claimed it had a clear lead. In Trinidad and Tobago, Carnegie resident Jessica Zamore accepted a ride home from a friend on Wednesday afternoon. The free lift cost the 37-year-old woman her life. As she sat in the back seat of a Nissan AD wagon, a gunman targeting a 20-year-old man opened fire on the vehicle as it slowed to avoid a pothole on a narrow road in Carnegie. Zamore, who lived with her husband at Scorpion Road, Carnegie, was pronounced dead on arrival at the Port of Spain General Hospital Wednesday night. Injured were Joshua St. Bernard, his twin sister Cheyenne St. Bernard, and their grandmother, 65-year-old Helena Luke. They were all grazed by bullets. The attack occurred at 4 p.m. while the 4 occupants and the driver were heading towards Scorpion Road. The driver slowed to avoid a large pothole at Jones Street, and it was here the gunman walked out from a nearby track and fired 8 shots at the car. In more news from Trinidad, newlyweds David and Jessica Francis, who drowned together at Cumana Beach, Toco, will be laid to rest in separate countries. The body of 34-year-old David Francis will remain in Trinidad for a funeral service on Friday. The couple married 3 months ago in St. Lucia. Francis then went to Canada to live with his wife. The couple, who met during Carnival celebrations in Trinidad several years ago, returned on Carnival Friday. They went to spend the weekend at a house in Old Halloran, Toco, relatives said. At around 4 p.m. on Sunday, the couple went for a swim. The Express was told that was told that Jessica Francis got into difficulty and called out to her husband. He made a desperate attempt to save her, relatives said. But they both went under the rough water and disappeared. CS Global Partners, a London-headquartered government marketing agency specializing in investor immigration, says demand for citizenship by investment has increased in light of spread of the new coronavirus COVID-19. Director Paul Singh says Caribbean islands with CBI programs are proving to be attractive as demand for citizenship of safer countries grows. We work with 3 Caribbean governments, Dominica, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Lucia, promoting their CBI programs worldwide, and assist authorized agents with any inquiries their clients may have regarding obtaining economic citizenship of any of these 3 countries. There has been a significant increase in demand for information on how to attain a second citizenship from Caribbean specifically, he said, noting that the outbreak has prompted citizens of affected jurisdictions to look for Plan B. Meanwhile, Jamaica is expecting that it will see 340,000 fewer tourists than it had projected this year in light of the threat posed by the novel coronavirus that has triggered travel restrictions across the globe. Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett told the Standing Finance Committee of the House of Representatives, which is examining the 2020-2021 estimates of expenditure, that the industry projections for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021 have been revised downward. Jamaica has issued travel restrictions for Italy, China, South Korea, Singapore, and Iran. As the coronavirus, now COVID-19, seems to be making its way through the region, hoteliers in Antigua have reported a marked increase in cancelled and postponed bookings. To date, there have been no reports of cases in Antigua and Barbuda, but some resort owners say they may be forced to lay off staff if the tourism sector is further impacted. Alex Brown, who manages the Starfish Jolly Beach Resort, is also a director of the ATHA board, and his hotel is one of those worst hit by the Italy travel advisory, which was issued last week. He reported a 16% decrease in occupancy from the Italian market. Meanwhile, in the Barbados-based Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, or CIMH, says that while some parts of the Caribbean, such as the Leeward Islands, experience above normal rainfall in January, there are concerns over short and long-term drought by the end of the dry season in May over much of the region. In its latest Caribbean Drought Bulletin, the CIMH said that of particular concern is the southern portion of the eastern chain into Guyana, where both short and long-term drought are likely to evolve, nationnoon.com says. That is the regional news segment. International news is up next. Welcome back, and now for the international news. U.S. President Donald Trump has signed an $8.3 billion emergency bill to combat the coronavirus outbreak, with confirmed cases reaching 233. In addition to 14 deaths, Mr. Trump urged calm, adding it will go away. The White House has faced criticism for its response and has acknowledged that the U.S. does not have enough test kits to meet the rising demand. Results are being awaited of tests on passengers on board a cruise ship heading off San Francisco, California. Dozens of passengers were tested on Thursday after a passenger died and at least 4 others became infected on a previous voyage by the ship, the Grand Princess. More than 100,000 coronavirus cases have been confirmed worldwide and over 3,400 deaths, according to data collected by Johns Hopkins University. The majority of these cases and deaths are in China, where the virus first emerged in December. Stocks in Asia and the UK fell sharply on Friday as investors continue to worry about the broader economic effects of the virus. In a rare display of bipartisanship, the emergency bill was rushed through by lawmakers in the U.S. Congress with near unanimity. A man in Alabama has been put to death for the murder of 3 police officers despite a campaign to save him. Nathaniel Woods, 43, was convicted of masterminding an ambush against the officers as they tried to arrest him on drug charges in 2004. He had always protested his innocence. Activists and celebrities including Martin Luther King III and Kim Kardashian West intervened in the case. On Thursday, the U.S. Supreme Court issued a stay of execution but then lifted it. This allowed the execution by lethal injection to go ahead at Hallman Prison. Woods was pronounced dead just after 9 a.m., 3 p.m. GMT. Woods' execution was the first in Alabama this year. European Union foreign ministers have accused Turkey of using migrants for political purposes by allowing them to cross the EU's external borders. The ministers described the situation at the border between Turkey and Greece as unacceptable, reiterating that illegal crossings will not be tolerated. The border has seen a standoff and clashes since last week. The Greek Foreign Minister, Nikos Dendias, said tension was in Turkey.
What we are facing there is a massive movement of migrants towards Greece's and Europe's borders, migrants which have been residing in Turkey for years. We have clear proof that this movement has been created and orchestrated by Turkey. And I would like to be clear on that. The European Union will not allow the instrumentalization of human suffering.
And finally, in our international news segment, gunmen have killed more than 30 people during a ceremony attended by top Afghan politicians in Kabul. The country's chief executive, Abdullah Abdullah, escaped unharmed, but dozens of others were wounded. The Islamic State group has claimed responsibility. It targeted the same event which commemorates the death of an Afghan Shia leader in 2019. The attack was the first major one in Kabul since a deal was signed between the U.S. and the Taliban last Saturday. The agreement aims to bring peace to Afghanistan. However, the Islamic State were not involved in negotiations. The ceremony marking the 25th anniversary of ethnic Hazara leader Abdul Ali Mazri's death at the hands of the Taliban was being broadcast live, and people were seen fleeing as the sound of gunfire rang out. The shots were fired from a nearby building under construction, police say. Health Ministry spokesman Wahidullah Meyer told news agency Reuters that 27 bodies have been recovered. The number could rise, he added. That is the international news segment. Sports is up next.
Imagine a place that has all that you need, all of the things for your business to succeed. Furniture, copiers, laptops and more. TDC Business Center is your number one store. Print and copy and scan and fax. Our copy center does all of that. If you're having a party and you need chairs and tents, you've got all your needs at Grand Rentals to rent. The TDC Business Center has everything your business needs. Superior copy and printing services, business equipment and furniture, and a wide array of renting materials for all occasions. TDC Business Center, providing solutions that work.
Welcome back, and now on to sports. In cricket, an explosive 40 not out from Andre Russell hastened West Indies to a 7-wicket win in the second 2020 international over Sri Lanka today to sweep their 2-match series. Russell smote 6 sixes in only 14 balls that put a successful chase of 156 beyond doubt for the Caribbean side in the final match of the series at Palekele International Cricket Stadium. A workman-like 43 not out from Shimron Hetmeyer was the top scorer for the West Indies, and Brandon King hit a career-best 43 to lay the groundwork, but it was Russell with his almighty hitting that swung the game decisively for the visitors. The Samurai scores were Sri Lanka 115 for 6 off 20 overs, Shanaka 31 not out, Angelo Matthews 23 runs, Pereira 21 not out, Fabian Allen 2 for 24. West Indies 158 for 3 off 17 overs, Shimron Hetmeyer 43 not out, Brandon King 43, Andre Russell 40 not out. In athletics, Ethiopia's Tanzania Bakele broke Mo Farah's course record in the men's Vitality Big Half race in London with a game of 1 hour and 22 seconds. Bekele shaved 1 minute and 18 seconds off the record set in 2009 by Briton Farah, who missed out with an Achilles injury. Bekele's victory sets up an exciting head battle with Aliud Kipuji as the 2 fastest marathon runners of all time line up for April's race. And finally, in cricket, England were eliminated from the Women's T20 World Cup without a ball being bowled as heavy rain washed out Thursday's semi-finals against India. The downpours left huge puddles on Sydney's cricket ground pitch. India's progress to Sunday's final after finishing top of Group A, while England, who are second in Group B, are out. Group B winners, South Africa, will reach their final if their game against Australia, set to be played at the same venue on Thursday, is also abandoned. There is no reserve for the semi-finals, despite the final not taking place until Sunday in Melbourne. That's it for sports. The latest weather forecast is up next. The weather tonight, mostly fair. Winds east with speeds ranging between 15 to 28 kilometers per hour or 8 to 15 knots. Seas not exceeding 1.5 meters or 5 feet. The sunrise tomorrow is 6:24 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Friday, 6th March 2020. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, Cleone Stapleton Simmons of the NRP wins by election in Nevis 5, St. Thomas Parish. And the Federal Ministry of Health lists steps to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Regionally, Guyana election, 2 main parties declare victory as tensions rise. Internationally, coronavirus, Trump signs $8.3 billion aid bill as cases rise. And in sports, West Indies beat Sri Lanka by 7 wickets in second T20I. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Danielle Moore wishing you a great weekend.